All right. So what we're going to look at now is the power rule for exponents. And so the idea here is when we take something to a power, we're talking about multiple multiplications. But we can nest this. So if I have a base to the power m, I can take the whole thing to a power. And notice I'm going to have parentheses here to enclose this. And this is saying I'm multiplying a to the m a total of n times. Well, that means I'm adding m as my exponent a total of n times. And multiple additions, we found out, were multiplications. And so this becomes a to the m times n. And so what happens for us is when we take some base to a power, we take this whole thing, that's why we're enclosing it in parentheses, to another power, those exponents multiply here, a times n to the n. So again, we're going to look at some examples of this rule. X cubed squared. Well, this is the same as x cubed. Got my squeaky voice on today. X cubed times x cubed. Or x 2 times 3, which equals x to the 6th. X to the 6th. And this one is getting used to because it pops up quite often that we'll get powers to powers. And these exponent rules are worth playing with. So let's go to, I think I'm going to go with the yellow. And we'll look at, let's see, m to the 5th, the whole thing, hence the parentheses, to the 6th power. Now, I'm not going to write out m to the 5th multiplied by 6 times here. I want to run out of space. So I'm going to use my rule to save space, because a lot of these rules are finding patterns so we don't have to write as much. That's our goal, is to look at the patterns that we're seeing with quantities and getting it so that we don't have to write as much. And we get m to the 30th. We can also do this with numbers that have a base. So if 3 squared to the 4th, well, 3 squared is 9, and 9 to the 4th is, I don't know it off the top of my head. But I could use this rule because this is my base here. So I have 3 to the 2 times 4. And so I get 3 to the 8th. You'll actually often see this written a lot. And the reason is mathematicians have tables for certain numbers, like all the powers of 2 or all the powers of 10. So converting exponents for one base makes it easier for them to look things up on tables or to do quicker calculations. And we'll see as we do scientific notation, this comes in very handy. But in general, you will have your calculator to do numbers. So I'm more concerned here with what we do with variables. And we get this idea that when we have a power to a power, it becomes a multiplication of that exponent. And next we're going to look at how some of these rules mix.